Hey folks, it's Ray at DCRainmaker.com here, and today I've got a complete user interface tour of the Garmin Venu 2 and 2S watches. Now this is not my full review. For that, it's up in the corner there, a different video where I go through all the newness and all the new stuff and how it works and doesn't work. And then I've also got a written review down at the bottom there. Instead, this is like an end-to-end. I'm just going to start and kind of talk through using the watch, start to finish, all the features, or as many features as I can think about anyways, for like 15 to 20 minutes. So with that, we're going to get right started on it. This is the Venu 2 and 2S. I've been wearing the 2, my wife's been wearing the 2S. The only differences between the two of them are size and a slight bit more battery in the 2 because it's larger. Otherwise, all the features are the same. You can see right there as I swipe through these side by side, she's walked more steps from me, she's smaller, it kind of makes sense. Floors climbed, etc. I've got more intensity minutes and so on. I'm just going to use one of these though now from here on out, just so it's not so confusing to have two watches side by side. For a comparison though, between the previous Venu, in terms of like colors and stuff like that, here's that right there. I'll just swipe up, and this is the difference between the Widget Glances and the widgets previously. So you can see these are like full page sort of things. There we go, versus this is all Widget Glances, and I can still tap into these to get more information or details on them if I wanted to. So I don't need to go ahead and have an entire page, but I can do like 3 things per page. So I'm gonna put that aside. The biggest probably ticket you're gonna notice right away is how different the user interface is in the displays. And now you're seeing it's automatically turning off. That's because it's not on my wrist. Normally if it's on my wrist, it's in always on mode, which means it stays on the entire time. Here it's trying to save battery. So if you see that happening, sorry, there's nothing I can do. It's set for the longest option I have. So these are the Widget Glances. This is new on the Venu 2. Garmin first launched this on the Fenix 6 about a year and a half ago now. And essentially, like I said, consolidates all those glances down into a little more bite-sized chunks. You can still tap them though to get more information. So you can see right here, my steps. I went for a run around 1 o'clock. What's cool though is you can swipe like this now, left and right, to see steps over time. Steps is probably a bad one because of the fact that heart rate's a little better there. There we go. So you can see the heart rate over time. Had it off my wrist right there at 12 to do some photos and stuff. You can see my run right there at 1 o'clock. Going back, you can see the nighttime, nothing terribly exciting there. But you can go back to the beginning of the day for all these different things. So if you had a more interesting day, so battery is probably a really good one for this graph right there. You can see that if I swipe right, I got it all the way up to 67 for the charge. The kids were up a lot last night, so that happened. Whereas when I went to bed last night at 12:30, it was down to, looks like about 15 or so. And this is probably a really interesting notable change here in body battery on the Venu 2 and 2S. When I say Venu 2, I mean both units at the same time, 2 and 2S. There's, like as I said before, no differences otherwise. In that they made an algorithm change to body battery that makes it much, much more difficult to get to 100%. And I talk about that in my full video and show comparisons of before and after, and it's definitely true. Like previously, that probably would have got me to like 80% or 85% for the sleep. This time I topped out at 67, which I think is a pretty accurate representation of my day. Now, a quick note before I forget, if you're finding this video useful, simply whack that like button right now. It really helps out this video and the channel quite a bit. As I showed you, the heart rate, PulseOx, I have that set for only during sleep. So that'll go ahead and measure the blood oxygen levels using the pulse oxygen sensor on the back there. And on the back, you see the new Garmin Elevate sensor. And it's really these 2 middle dots right there, that are the green and red LEDs. And then these 4 dots around the side there are the IR sensors. And that's used only in PulseOx mode to supplement the red LEDs that I have there. And I can't really get this to turn on and stay on. Let's see if I can do it like this. Maybe I'll turn and show the green ones. There you can see the green ones right there. In fact, if I go to PulseOx, I probably can get it to at least for a split second. It's really, really good at knowing when something isn't there. So let's see if I can get it to take a reading here. Okay, ready? And put a finger on it. I'll let you know when I see the red pop up. No, it's impossible to get the red ones to show up. So we can swipe back here or hit the bottom right button to go back. Sleep, this is also new on the Venu to see it right here. Previously, sleep was only available on the app afterwards. You can now tap this and see the sleep for the night. So you can see a score of 62, which I thought was a fair score, and the quality was fair as well. Unbalanced sleep was accurate. But right there, you can see I've had a lot of exercise and it probably impacted my sleep, which is probably true. If I swipe down, I can see my sleep stages, sleep phases, and the time I was awake. As you can see, kids were up a lot last night. And then you can see here that same kind of graph, but in more of a chart form or round pie chart form thing. A circle chart, how's that? And you can see the unbalanced sleep. Again, this is something that Garmin started rolling out the Fenix 6 last year and then paused while they sorted things out. And now they've started resuming that again. You'll probably see it come pretty soon to the 409 45 and 745, and I think a few others as well there. So Spotify control right down there. This is for the offline music. In this case, I don't have my headphones handy, unfortunately, but if I just hit play, it plays it on my headphones. You do not have to have your phone with you. This is offline cache music on this for Spotify, Deezer, and Amazon Music. So swiping up a bit more, we got stress, respiration, activities, notifications, and then health snapshot. So this is one of the new features right here. And you'll see this one I did this week so far on Monday. And you can see it basically goes off and takes this 2-minute long snapshot, which I'll show you in a second. And when it's done, it gives you the average heart rate, the average SpO2, that's the PulseOx, average respiration rate, and the stress and your HRV numbers. And this is then stored in Garmin Connect, and then soon you'll be able to export it out as a PDF export as well if you want to. I assume for like longer time frames, so you can take it to a doctor or whoever else you want to. To get to that though, this is a good transition into the sport modes. You'll press this upper right-hand button right there, and you'll see all the sport modes, run, treadmill, etc. If we go down there, you will see the breathwork and health snapshot. I can tap that right there. And all you do then is press this button and it goes off and does it. You can see a little bit of B-roll right here of my wife. She decided to like have a half nap sort of thing. She was still awake. You should still be awake for this, but she just laid there for 2 minutes and let it do its thing. It's like the best workout you have. You don't do anything. It's kind of perfect. So going back here into the sports to actual workouts, you've got run. These are no different than in the past. You would go ahead and you just wait for the GPS if it's an outdoor run or not, if it's an indoor run, and you press the upper right-hand button to start. Or we can go to the bottom here and we can put structural workouts on there, my Tuesday intervals, for example. And you can see these, all the different sets and different pieces of them, each having different targets. Or if I had something on my training calendar, like that right there, this is the bike ride, you see that there show up as well. Or I can go in and change the data fields and settings. You get a total of 3 dedicated screens here, 1, 2, 3, and you can customize up to 4 data fields per screen. So you can choose that and you can kind of mix what you want. You can see 1 data or 4, 3, 2, 1, and then within that, you can choose whatever you want. For all the data fields that you would normally expect, pace, distance, time, lap time, heart rate, cadence, intensity, minutes, temperature, elevation, etc., are all there that you can kind of tweak however you like. You also have auto lap here, auto pause, alerts, so you can add alerts for heart rate, run, walk, pace, time, distance, cadence, calories. All this stuff is pretty much the same on previous Garmin watches. You can change the GPS type from GLONASS to Galileo to GPS only. GPS only would save a little battery life. Galileo adds a touch bit more battery life, or takes a touch bit more battery. But I just leave on the default, which is GPS plus GLONASS, and it's got pretty good tracks, as you can see in my full review there. So scrolling on back here, we're going to go to one of the new sport modes because it's probably more important. So in strength there, there's a couple new sport modes I talk about in the full review, but in particular here, there is now animated step-by-step instructions as well as a muscle map. So if we go on the bottom there and swipe up, we choose workouts. We're going to choose total body muscle. And wait 1 second, there we go, sorry. And you can see these sets. So I got 4 sets right there, another 4 sets, each with different steps in them. And if I tap on those, I can see what each of those exercises are aiming to target, or essentially what they're going to make sore later on. So barbell deadlift, I swipe up, chin up, and if I go and press this little icon on the right-hand side there, it shows me what a chin-up is. And, you know, I think most people know what a chin-up is, but most people might not know what every single one of these things are and how precisely to do them. So that's probably the more important thing, and maybe more importantly than that, how to do them correctly. Since if you've been to a gym, you know that most people don't tend to do things necessarily the right way. So this is a pretty cool little feature, and that muscle map thing is the newness here on the Venu 2. The first time we've seen that on any of the Garmin watches. We previously saw that on some of the Coros watches, actually, about, I think, a year ago, maybe like 8, 9 months ago, something like that. So interesting to see Garmin kind of duplicate that functionality here as well. So if we go back here, we'll confirm this and press to start. And then it's going to simply iterate through each one of these steps. So you can see you got 5 reps to do, and it'll actually count the individual reps as you go along. In this case, because it's on this wooden box, it's not going to count anything. But I can swipe up to this. I can see a timer, calories, heart rate, and then there's the animation of what exactly that step should be. And then as well, the next step right there. And then I can go to one more and see the full set there, and then skip individual ones if I want to by pressing this lower right-hand button. So you can see it skips to chin-ups and dumbbell floor press and so on until I'm done. And then I can add or edit the reps there and say, yes, I did this many, or whatever the case may be. Click confirm at the end of that particular set. Once I'm done, I press the save button, save it out, and I'm all set. And then I'll go ahead and upload to Garmin Connect Mobile, and I can see more information about the entire structure workout there. Now, one thing I forgot to highlight earlier on when I was in the Widget Glances is challenges. And this allows you to go ahead and have someone challenge you, or you challenge them to various things. For example, a step goal over a week-long time frame. And then it gives you updates as the person passes you, or as you pass them, gives them updates on the watch. If we go down, you can see there's actually a dedicated widget for it now, which is the challenges widget. I tap that, and I can see there's a steps challenge that I've been challenged to, and I'm currently in first place. And I think it's really important to highlight that here, just because you may see things out in the internet that may indicate someone else wins this challenge. To be clear, I won this challenge last week, and I fully intend to win it at least through by the time this video launches this week. After that, frankly, it doesn't matter. It's like a fart in the wind. But the important part here is that I'm winning. That's what matters. So swiping on back here, going to some of the settings. To do that, you hold this right-hand button down there. And this brings us to the settings. So the watch face is there. Now in the watch face, you've got two basic categories. One is live watch faces and then not live watch faces. You can use live watch faces when the always on mode is off, meaning when it's always on mode is on, you need to have one of these non-live watch faces because it's using the blacks behind it right there to save battery life. So it's got to have those black areas. And this is actually a bit of a change from the previous Venu, because on this Venu 2, you now have complications on the side, in other words, like data points on the side, versus the original Venu on an always on watch face, you couldn't have that. So a bit of a nice change there. Anyways, back into watch faces, we'll choose a live one just to show you what that looks like. We'll go with this moon right here. And then you see each time I raise my wrist, it would show me the moon passing like that. I would say in using this watch face for a few days, this is the most confusing watch face ever, because my brain has to like go 4:49, and my brain can't do that fast. I appreciate the moon. I just wish I didn't have to think so much about it every time it came up. You can see this one like clouds, it looks like, or sunset or something like that. Some of them are really smooth. Some of them are not as smooth. They are different sets than the original Venu live watch faces though. So let's see if we find one more in here. It's like raindrop sort of laser one there. There you go. Again, each time you raise the wrist, it shows us, and then you can, go swipe down and see all your widget glances below it. Back in the settings here, you can look at history, for example. See this week's activities, my run from a couple hours ago right there. And if I tap this, I can see a little breadcrumb style trail where my run was, and then my heart rate throughout it, my distance, time, pace. It's pretty basic here. You can look at the laps if you want to. So there's my laps right there, but you can't see as many stats as you would on a lot of other Garmin watches. I think this is cool. I would love to see, though, instead of like this little breadcrumb trail, given the full connectivity here, I'd love to see like a little mini satellite map below that. That'd be awesome, just to see where I ran through the forest and whatnot would be kind of cool. But I understand that those things all take battery power, but I'd like to see them like continue to step up this particular page after a run a little bit more if possible. Going back into the settings here, there's records. If we go back further, we can go to more settings, and you can change things like all of the controls. And this is a good time to show you the contactless payments piece before I forget. So in the upper right hand corner here, you hold this down to get into the controls menu. And these are all the controls, like kind of quick action things you can access. Contactless payments is up there in the right hand corner. Spotify, hey, wake up. And then there's, I've changed it off the always on mode here, so now I gotta fight this. Different options here that you can lock the screen, for example. To do contactless payments, I would tap that, I enter my passcode in. I won't show you my passcode. There we go. At this point, I just simply put it on a reader, and it'll go ahead and it'll pay for whatever it is I need to pay for. Once you're wearing this, you only have to put the passcode in once per 24 hours. As soon as you take it off your wrist, it'll ask the passcode again the next time you go to use the contactless payments. Okay, so there you go. I think that's pretty much everything there is to know about the watch on the watch itself, the core features, the core functions. From a watch band standpoint, these are removable 22 mil bands here, and then the Venu 2S is an 18 mil band. You just simply pop them off right there and there. You can see there's these two side by side. And if we compare it to, just for fun here, this is the Vivoactive 4S. So it looks like almost the same size, maybe a touch bit smaller. I think it's identical. And then over here is the original Venu. So there you go. All of them lined up right there. Venu, Venu 2, Venu 2S, Vivoactive 4S. There was not a Venu 1S, no S. There was not original Venu S, just a Vivoactive 4 and 4S. So there you go, a complete look at these watches. There's also my full in-depth review linked down the bottom there, or the video review up in the corner there, that goes into all those features and all the nuances and kind of the good and bad little tweaks and stuff like that that I couldn't cover in this video. So definitely check that out as well. If you found this video interesting, whack that like button at the bottom there, or hit subscribe for plenty more sports technology goodness. With that, have a good one.
You and I, we're always on the edge. We fight and make love at the same time. Would you break up just because I told you what I did last night? I recall the times you said you're sorry. I'm still not sure if you told lies, but I don't care, it's all forgotten now. We're holy when we touch anyhow. Holy when we touch anyhow. Give me a chance to make it right. Just let me touch you like the first time. We don't need answers to survive. Just let us keep on with the black lights. With the black lights. Hanging up to see if you would call me. I miss you more when you seem too far away. And you can blame it all on me as long as we can find our way. Do you remember all the times we tried to stop this? Yeah, we end up the same.